Okay, a lot of reaction to my appearance still now a month ago on the Joe Rogan Experience out in Los Angeles. And I got a few different versions of this next question, which generally speaking is, here's one example of how the question was asked. David, now that you've appeared on the Joe Rogan program, can we reasonably believe that you are an official member of the intellectual dark web? Where theoretically do you now fit on the alt-right network map, if just for some giggles? Yeah. I don't think I'm anywhere on the alt. I'm the only alt-right map I'm on is the map of targets, right? That's the only one. I don't know. Listen, I don't know who's in or out of the intellectual dark web. I don't profess to be in or out. I just don't have really any clue what the boundaries are of the intellectual dark web. What is very interesting, though, is that since the Rogan appearance, a lot of my content that is posted on mostly left-wing subreddits has also been appearing on the intellectual dark web subreddit, on the Sam Harris subreddit, etc. And it is very interesting that on the one hand, you have what's called the BreadTuber Coalition. BreadTube, there's a prominent subreddit, which is definitively lefty content. It's exclusively lefty content. And then on the other hand, you have the intellectual dark web, which is pro-free speech, center-left to right-wing content. There's a variety of views represented within the intellectual dark web online enclaves. And some of my same pieces of content are being posted to the BreadTube affiliated subreddits and to the IDW affiliated subreddits, which is interesting. And maybe, I mean, listen, sometimes I get criticized for being boring because I see both sides of a lot of issues. When there aren't two reasonable sides, I don't see both sides. Like the abortion debate. I don't find any value in the abortion is murder and it should be a legal thing. Like that, I just don't even know how to integrate that into my perspective on what abortion law should be, and that'll actually be the topic of the next audience question. But on a lot of these issues, nuance is required. Identity politics, toxic identity politics, where one's identity is used as a cudgel or as a knife or as a mallet to beat people over the head with, is bad. It's not the biggest issue, but it's bad and I call it out. I also recognize that to ignore the reality that people's identity as representative of who they are may bring them unique perspectives on political issues that should be listened to. It's just like the most minute amount of nuance. And apparently in some circles that qualifies it both as a BreadTube perspective and as an IDW perspective. I don't know, but certainly I've received no official or unofficial invitation to the intellectual dark web. Although there were actually some tweets floating around last week about maybe me appearing on Brett Weinstein's new podcast. I don't know, never remember. Weinstein, I believe, his new podcast, to talk about what's going on with YouTube demonetization. And I'll appear anywhere to talk about that issue. I think it's an important issue that should be discussed. One of today's sponsors is Impeach the Card Slap Game. You can't slap Donald Trump in real life, but you can slap him in this really funny and intelligent two-player card game. And you can get it for 10% off at davidpakman.com/impeach. Impeach the Card Game is perfect for having friends over, hanging out with family members who have a sense of humor about Trump. We've been playing it at my place. I really don't think you'd be able to find a game that does a better job of satirizing today's political climate in such an intelligent way. I've had a ton of fun with it. I think you will too. You can tell a ton of time and careful thought went into the game design and the cartoon artwork and the humor. It never gets old because you're always discovering new jokes and political commentary in the game. We were talking to the creators of the game, and they said one of the goals was that players might even learn something new as they play. I think it would make a perfect gift for anyone, really of any political orientation, because of how clever it is. And when you go to davidpakman.com/impeach, you'll get 10% off the game, but you can also get 10% off any of the hilarious clothing and accessories in the online store, including t-shirts, coffee mugs, tote bags, all featuring funny original political cartoons about the president. Get a super fun and witty gift for yourself or someone you know, whether it's Impeach the Card Slap Game or any of the other awesome stuff in the gift shop, and get 10% off of all of it when you go to davidpakman.com/impeach.